Hey guys, welcome to today's video where I'm going to review and compare two brand new concealer releases with each other. Both of these brands dropped their very first concealers pretty much at the same time. So we are talking, of course, about the new Victoria Beckham concealer and about the Westman Atelier concealer. So right off the bat, it is pretty important to note that these two products are very, very pricey. They have a steep price point, and usually these brands are what I would consider pretty much luxury brands. So I was really intrigued. I took one for the team, and I really wanted to give you a lot of the info that you may need in case you are eyeing one of them and you want to decide which one would be the most suitable for you. And also, if you are interested in both of these brands and you do want to know more about the rest of their products, I actually do have review videos on both of the brands. So I'm going to be linking them in my description box down below, alongside with some affiliate links and also some discount codes. Now, I do want to point out though that I'm not affiliated to any of these brands, and this was not sent to me. I did purchase this with my own money. These affiliate links are generated through my partner over at Shop My Shelf. So if you do decide to make a purchase through my links, thank you so much. That is going to directly support my channel. And if you do want to support the channel in any other way, you can always give the video a like in case you end up enjoying it, subscribe, and also don't forget to ring the bell for more beauty content. Also, when I'm doing these type of reviews, just keep in mind this is solely my experience with the products. You might have a different experience. I can't guarantee any outcome with any of the products that I'm featuring on my channel. I can just demonstrate to you guys how it's working on my skin, and I can just give you all of the details. So that's what we are going to be doing today. We are going to be going over the claims on both of these concealers. I'm going to be applying both of them, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of a wear test just to see how the products are performing over the course of the day. I will say though, this is not going to be a first impressions. I've already tried both of these concealers out. And yeah, I am really thrilled to give you my opinions on these products. But before we are jumping in, I am still barefaced, and usually I am not somebody who's putting concealer all over my face. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to be putting on a primer, I'm going to be putting on a foundation, and I'm going to leave the area around my eyes pretty blank so that we can have a good look at the concealers, how they are performing, around my eye area. And then, if I do need a little bit of concealing, I have a little bit of a spot right here. I got a little bit of a breakout situation right there. If we need to further conceal my face, we're going to be doing that. And I'm also going to try and use a medium coverage foundation. So I don't necessarily want to apply a full coverage foundation. So just keep that in mind. I'll be right back. I have you zoomed in, and then we can start talking about these products. All right, I am back. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit later when we are actually applying the concealer, because prior to applying it, I definitely do want to point out a couple of claims, information on the products. What are we actually talking about? So I would say maybe let's start off with the one by Victoria Beckham. So this one is the concealer pan with TFC8 trademarked luminous coverage concealer, and this retails for a whopping $68. Let me tell you, when I saw that release, I was just gasping for air. I thought I would faint because I don't think I ever purchased such an expensive concealer in my entire life. The thing is, what you should know first about this product is something very important, and that is how much product is actually in this. 2.4 milliliter of product. That is 0.08 fluid ounce.
Excuse me?
That is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Let me tell you, most concealers do come with 7 milliliters. This one comes with 2.4 milliliters. So the next thing that I do want to point out is the fact that the packaging. Victoria Beckham usually has very nice, luxurious packaging. So I was honestly taken back by the fact that she came out with a concealer pan. This is a click pen, you know. It is pretty unhygienic. I just don't love it. I prefer a doe foot. You have to click on the back in order to get the product out. Now, the very first time you've got to click at least 20 times. Like you got to click and click and click until the product like slowly is being released into the bristles. It's a little bit annoying. And also, I don't like these pen things. I just feel like you can't really control the amount that you are applying that easily. You know, it's much easier with a doe foot to know how much product you are applying. With this, it's a little bit trickier. So I was really surprised that they went with this type of packaging. So let's actually jump over to the Westman Atelier one and let's have a look at that concealer for a second. So this one is the Vital Skincare Concealer by Westman Atelier, and this one retails for $48. So straight off the bat, I do prefer the packaging on the Westman Atelier concealer. Here it is. It is almost the exact same packaging as their lip glosses. This is the lip product. So they're almost the same. They just have different colors. And I will say I do prefer this. This is pretty heavy. Like this really feels like sturdy. Whereas the Victoria Beckham one this time around does not feel heavy or any of that. Not that it has to be. You know, honestly, I do prefer if my products are a little bit more lightweight. I don't need like heavy packaging, but this does feel a little bit more luxe in terms of packaging. This one also has a traditional doe foot applicator, which I honestly do prefer. I think that's a smart idea. So this one is actually $20 less than the Victoria Beckham one, which is still a lot, okay? Don't get me wrong. $48 for a concealer just sounds so bananas. But this one at least has 6 milliliters of product, so 0.21 fluid ounces. So let's find out, why are these products so expensive? Obviously, some of the names already gave it away. There is some skincare happening in the formula of these products. But what are the claims? Why is this Victoria Beckham one so expensive apart from this just being Victoria Beckham? There just has to be something special about this, right? So let's have a look at what they are saying on her website. So Conceal to Reveal, the high-performance double impact formula of the concealer pan gives you exquisite second skin, light to medium coverage, that immediately perfects, while skincare actives improve your complexion in 4 weeks. So they've done a bunch of like clinical studies with this product. You can read about that, you know, on their official website. I'm not going to bore you with these like clinical study result things. Basically, what they are saying here is that this has clinically proven skin benefits formulated with TFC8 by Augustinus Bader. The concealer pan formula reduces the appearance of fine lines and dark circles, decreases eye puffiness, and improves the appearance of hyperpigmentation. So the thing is, Augustinus Bader, he has a very luxurious, very pricey skincare line, and Victoria Beckham sometimes likes to, you know, team up with him to put his like trademarked ingredients in her makeup, in her skincare products. So this does have some like skincare magic in here, basically. If you are really eyeing this, you know, for the skincare benefits, head over to their website, because otherwise I'd be like sitting here for another 10 minutes reading all of their clinical studies and all of that. So let's jump over to the Westman Atelier one. So about this concealer, they are saying pro pigments and serum strength actives combine for precise melt-in coverage that feels as good as it looks. Nourishing yet airy, this formula delivers a creaseless, hyper-real finish with soft focused pigments that blur, bounce light, and let skin breathe. Hyaluronic acid and peptides hydrate and firm, while Vital Wake Up Complex evens tone and brightens. So skin gets an instant moisture boost that lasts even after makeup is removed, clinically shown to reduce dark circles under eyes in just 4 weeks. So both of these are skincare infused concealers. That's what it boils down to. So I'm going to be putting the ingredient list of the Victoria Beckham concealer on this side, and I'm going to be putting the Westman Atelier on this side, and you can pause the video if you do want to have a read through. Just the bullet points on the Victoria Beckham one. So this is cruelty-free, vegan, silicone-free, soy-free, gluten-free, dermatologist tested, safe for sensitive skin. So this one has no PEGs, it's cruelty-free, no phthalates, no parabens, no talc, and no silicone. So both of these are silicone-free concealers. So let's move on and let's talk about something different. Let's talk about the shade range here for a second. Both of these concealers only come in 16 shades. So that's not that great, to be honest with you. And I will say, I don't feel like the shades that I've picked up this time around are matching me 100%. I have more of a neutral leaning, cool undertone. So I always look for like a cool concealer, like something beige, something rosy, something that has a little bit of pink, right? None of these have pink undertones in their light shade range. So let's have a quick look at the Victoria Beckham one first. So 16 shades, no cool undertones, only neutral, warm, or golden from fair to medium. I did pick up the shade L1, which is described as a light with neutral. So on their website, they are even saying the shades of the concealer pan have predominantly neutral undertones. Why? Why? Not everyone has a neutral undertone. Paired with a flexible and blendable formula, this makes the range compatible for warm, neutral, and rosy undertones. I am so sorry, but are they seriously thinking that a neutral undertone is going to match everyone? Like, if you want to cater to a rosy undertone, produce a concealer with a rosy undertone. So yeah, that is very, very silly in my opinion. I will say Westman Atelier, at least they made an effort to somewhat give you a little bit of a difference in undertone selection. But I will say the shade that I picked up, it's described completely wrong. So both of these brands really have a lot of work to do when it comes to their shade range. So I basically picked up the shade L4, light with peach undertones. And I will tell you, this is not peach. A brand that is really, really on point with their undertones usually is House Labs. And House Labs has a concealer that I love and adore. And I do have the shade 22 light medium peach. So this is a true peach undertone. Here we have House Labs, and this is the Westman Atelier one, an L4. So Westman looks so yellow in comparison to the House Labs. This is a true peach undertone, you guys. And when you go on their website and you are looking at this product online, how it's presented on their website, like they have footage, visuals, right? And it looks peach online. So I was really certain that I would be the shade L4. And when I got it, I'm shocked. I am so shocked at how bad this peach undertone is. This is not peach, you guys. So keep that in mind in case you are looking at this shade L4 online. The Victoria Beckham one matches me better in terms of shade. Look at the Westman Atelier one and then at the Victoria Beckham one. So that is House Labs. Weird, right? But all right, you guys, I think those were all of the things that I wanted to have mentioned on both of these products before I'm going to be moving on to applying it. And then I'm going to give you a little bit more details on how the consistency is, how the coverage level is, how it's blending out, all of these things. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to move you guys in, I'm going to zoom you in so that you can see my eye area a little bit more up close. All right, I am zoomed in now. I completely forgot to mention to you guys what foundation I actually used. I used the Rose Ink Soft Light Skin Smoothing Liquid Foundation. So I have this in the shade Light Cool. And I really love this foundation. This was also in my best of 2023. And I'm still loving, loving, loving this foundation so much. I've been wearing this quite a lot. I really love the shade. I think the shade matches me so, so well. I would say let's start off with the Victoria Beckham one. And let's put the Victoria Beckham one on this side of my eye. I definitely did leave pretty much everything blank, underneath my eyes. And I really don't feel like this is the type of concealer that would work for spot concealing. I think they mentioned something along those lines that you can also use this to spot conceal. But to be honest with you, this type of consistency, this type of texture, this type of coverage, to me, it is more something that I would prefer to use underneath my eyes than put all over my face. And I'm also not someone who's gonna like put this all over my face because this was expensive. So just remember there is not much product in here. So I'm gonna click a little bit on it. I mean, you can see some product is coming out here. I will say the texture of this product, it's not thick and it's not creamy. It's a little bit on the thinner side. And the coverage level on this is not a lot. You know, it does blend out okay, but can you just see how this shade looks on me? I do need some product though. Like, you are probably like, girl, you are applying way too much product. That's what I said. It is very hard to control this pen. It is very hard to know how much you have to click on it, you know, how many times you have to click on it. I mean, this was maybe a little bit excessive, but you know, I used this a couple of times and I always felt like I had to use a decent amount of product in order for me to get the coverage that I like. Maybe let's just try and spot conceal a little bit. It's not going to match my skin tone, but I'm just going to put a little bit right here. And now let's also put the Westman Atelier one on the other side. I will say this one has a thicker, creamier consistency, but just look at that shade. And also, I don't need that much product here. I don't need to dip in twice. This doe foot is really, really good. Maybe I can put on a little bit on here, a little bit right here. The Victoria Beckham one also will dry down quite quickly. So I'm gonna try and blend this out now with a dampened sponge. I honestly don't love it if something dries down too quickly. But the thing is, this one blends out so nicely, like after you have it on your skin for just a little bit, you know. And I will say the Victoria Beckham one, it looks pretty flawless. Whenever I blend this out, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, wow, this looks so beautiful. But you gotta let it sit for just a little bit, like for a couple of seconds, like maybe like a minute. And then when you blend it out, it's just gonna look so amazing. But look, the amount of product that I applied, it's actually not too much. You would think that in the beginning that I applied too much product, but really, I did not, because the coverage level on this, with this amount of product, is nice. That's exactly what I like. All right, so let's blend out the Westman Atelier one. This one definitely a little bit thicker, a little bit creamier, but much more coverage. So I don't need as much product as I require with the Victoria Beckham one. So the difference really is the Victoria Beckham one looks very skin-like, you know, this is not full coverage. Whereas the Westman Atelier one definitely looks more heavy, has more coverage, but it also, I feel like it just does not look quite as natural as the Victoria Beckham one. The Victoria Beckham one, for some whatever reason, just looks like my skin. It does not look like I've applied anything. It just looks like my skin, but better. This one, I mean, you could tell that I put on some makeup underneath my eyes. Really, this does not look like a second skin. But also, I feel like a concealer should offer a little bit of coverage. The finish, radiant. Can you see? This is a very radiant finish. It's gonna give you like somewhat like glass skin. This one, not quite as radiant, almost like more of a natural matte finish, whereas this one is more of a natural glowy finish. So that's another difference. I mean, another thing is, in terms of creasing, I do feel like the Westman Atelier one looks a little bit heavier underneath my eyes, but this one possibly is better to spot conceal, whereas this does not crease. Like, this does not look creasy. This is, I mean, granted, I do have this fine line running right here, and every product is going to settle into that fine line, no matter what I do. Every concealer will. right? But it's just a question of how much it's going to emphasize that line. And if you look side by side, and if you are comparing both of these sides to each other, I feel like this looks a little bit more prominent in terms of creasing. You know what I'm going to be doing next? I'm going to be putting on a little bit of an eye primer on my lids, and I'm always using my Sigma eyeshadow base primer. So I'm going to be applying this, and I'll be right back with some powder. So I'm going to be powdering down my face. I'm going to be starting off with my eyes, and I'm going to do the rest of my face because my foundation is also unset. So I'm going to be using a pink powder. I'm going to be using my Luna Beauty Versal Setting Powder in the shade Translucent Pink. I am using a pink powder just to add back a little bit of pink pigment to my face, although this is not very tinted, it's not like the one size ultra pink. I feel like that one is even more like pigmented in terms of the pink pigment. This one is just so blurring. It's like such an amazing powder for underneath my eyes. So I'm gonna take this on a puff. I'm gonna like take the excess and I'm just working it into the puff so that I don't have too much powder on this puff. All right, so let's do the Victoria Beckham side first. Then let's go with the powder on the Westman Atelier side. Okay, and now I'm going to be doing the rest of my face with this powder as well. I do think that both of these concealers work very well with powder. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be finishing off the rest of my makeup off camera. I'm going to be linking all of the products that I am using in my description box down below. But I'm not going to be putting any eyeshadow underneath my lower lash line. I'm not going to be doing that because I don't want to mess around with what you can see right now. Like, I want to come back in a couple of hours and show you how these two products are performing. So I don't want to put something on my lower lash line. I'm not going to be putting any eyeshadow there. I might be putting maybe like an eyeliner in my waterline. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to stop. I'm going to finish off the rest of my makeup and then I'll be right back in a couple of hours. All right, guys, I am back for my final check-in just to round up my thoughts. It's been 4 hours since I sat down and I put on these concealers. And to be honest, I need a mirror to have a look. So what can I say? I do think that both of them performed quite well, given that these have been underneath my eyes and on some of the spots since 4 hours. I do think though, in terms of what I like, what I prefer, that the Victoria Beckham one just looks a little bit better, It looks a little bit more seamless. It still looks not as creasy as the Westman Atelier. I feel like the Westman Atelier with the powder, it looks a little bit more like makeup-y. Granted, I do have these fine lines and I hope you can see them. And every concealer is going to settle into them. No matter what I do, it will always do that. But I just feel like the Victoria Beckham one wears a little bit better. I just feel like this just looks a little bit more flawless. Whereas this side, I can also see some of the finer lines, Whereas this side really just looks a little bit more smooth. I also like this side. I think both of these concealers look pretty decent after 4 hours of wear. And also when I wore them for the entire day, 8 hours plus, I still felt like with each one of them that they performed pretty well. But yeah, the Victoria Beckham one, man, it's pretty. It is pretty. Do I think that any of these are much better than my beloved Natasha Denona concealer, my Raphael concealer that I also really, really love, or my House Labs concealer? Like, those three are definitely concealers that I've been reaching for quite a lot over the past months. I don't think so. I think these are pretty. I think I'm still going to use them. The only thing that throws me off a little bit with the Westman Atelier one is the fact that this L4 shade, which claims to have peach undertones, just does not have peach undertones. I feel like it still works, it's not a big, massive disaster. I think it's fine. But whenever I'm applying it, I can just tell that this is not the right shade. And with the Victoria Beckham one, what annoys me a little bit is the fact that I just don't like this delivery system. I don't love the pan. I wish this could come with a doe foot, and I wish we could get more product. I think this is just not enough product for the price point with the Westman Atelier one. Maybe I'm going to be using this a little bit more, for spot concealing. I think the Victoria Beckham one looks a little bit better underneath my eyes than the Westman Atelier one. Both of them have positives and both of them have negatives. But the one thing that they have in common is the fact that they are not inexpensive. They are pretty pricey. So I do understand if you really don't care for them. And if you want some other great options, I mean, the three that I just mentioned are fantastic as well. But yeah, I really hope that this was helpful. I really hope that you can see how these are wearing, with powder. I mean, if I would have not powdered them down, maybe it would have been a total different story. I don't know. I always sat down my concealer with powders. But if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also please don't forget to ring the bell in order to get notified about my upcoming videos. And I shall be seeing you very soon with the next one. So please do take care. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.